way up the hill. When you gave directions to people, you just said, if you smell grass, you're in the neighborhood.
I remember the first time, and I'm going to get back to this story, because the first time I actually was coming out of the house for the first time, it was like dusk, and Todd Glass is getting into a car with a police uniform and a police hat. And I'm saying, Todd, what's happening? Do you have an audition for?
Choked to death.
Do you have an audition for a policeman thing? He's like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I said, because Todd's a little awkward. I said, well, what's happening? Why are you dressed in a cop uniform? He said, oh, I go out every Saturday night like this in a cop uniform. I said, I don't understand. He said, listen, this is what I like to do. I like to stop. I got this little siren here I put on top. I like to stop hot girls and have them come out of the car and just interrogate them. It's something fun I like to do on Saturday nights. I'm like, Todd, isn't that illegal?
It's a felony.
It's a felony. It's
impersonating an officer.
And he said, Barry, don't.
What are you going to ruin it, Barry? Todd's one of these guys. He scrunches up his face whenever he wants to talk to you. He goes, hey, what are you going to run? I'm opening for David Spade now, Barry. Come on. The first time I saw Todd Glass at that house was I was on my patio sunning myself. I had a patio with a hot tub. You remember the patio? It overlooked the street.
Yes, I do, yeah.
It overlooked the street. And I would hear the door open. And to me, there's a whole bunch of really cool guys next door. And I wanted to get in there and party, man. Let's take it up a notch. So every time but I didn't really know any of them. I knew Dave Rath a little bit. But Passaic and those guys, they were a different breed of cat. I hear the door open. I'm like, oh, who is it? And it would be Todd Glass. He'd walk across the street. And he would piss in the bushes directly across from the house. And he'd go back in, and 4 hours would go by. I hear the door open, and I'd be like, ooh, maybe it's Brian Passaic, or maybe it's Doug Benson, and it would be Todd Glass. He'd go, and he would piss. This would happen 6 times a day. And then finally, when I went over to the house, I said, Todd, why do you always piss across the street? It's because the bathroom was up a flight of stairs, and he was so fucking lazy. He didn't want to go up a flight of stairs because he lived on the lowest part of the house. It's one of those houses that are more vertical.
Let us explain where Todd Glass lived in the house. So when you walked in the entrance of the house, it was at the bottom level.
It was an office next to a garage.
He lived, in a curtained off. There was a curtain and went across this vestibule by the garage, and he had his bed and his dresser in there without a bathroom there, and that was his bedroom in the house. And that's why he just undid the curtain, went through and pissed, and came back in every time.
But all he would have to do is take maybe 12 stairs and pee next to, Brian Passaic and Dave Rath's bedroom. And I thought maybe it was he was in his own world. He didn't want those guys to see him as much as... It's almost like he wanted them to invite him, hey, Todd, if you want, you can come upstairs and pee with us.
But anyway, getting back to the story.
You wrote me a note.
So I remember writing you a note, corny, and it was really corny as I say it right now. But it was good luck, pal. Hope you cruise to the part.
Oh, my God. Hold on, that's the...
That's how corny it was. But I remember back then, starting as a new manager, it's that was the dream, is to have an artist that you work with, as Jay smells the mic after he farted into it. Because you can't see that here. And that's the dream of a manager and an artist, to turn that no into a yes and actually create something, which is, really...
Here's the book I want to write. We talked about Zen and the Art of Comedy. I want to write a book about, after you do Jerry Maguire and Picture Perfect, and they come out less than 12 months apart, if you do the math, that equals boom, you're up and you're running. And then here we are 20 years later, and we're fucking ham and egging it, begging for auditions. It's the same thing.
Well, I don't think you're ham and egging it, but that's your opinion. But
we were in a sitcom house, that's for sure.
You're
I like how every time Barry...
You're in a palatial mansion here.
Whenever Barry stops talking, he takes the mic and puts it back in an imaginary holster next to his hip. I've never seen anything like it. Like, I just keep it next to my mouth at all times in case I think of something to say. Like, right now, it's next to your hip. He says something, and then he puts it back in his hip. Like, that'll do, man.
Because
I showed him.
This is the reason why. You know when you're on the phone with somebody, you're on a conference call of like 3 people.
Is that what you do when we're on the phone?
And you hear this thing, and you're wondering who that person is. It's me. So that's why I'm putting it down. But
that's what Matty Cohen's for. He's going to take all your deep breathing sounds out. All right. So I go and I audition for Picture Perfect, and I realize as I'm slow dancing with Jennifer Aniston, it was in Chelsea, someplace in Midtown, not quite Midtown, Chelsea.
And she was testing with you.
Yes.
Because I don't think people know that.
I auditioned, and then after you audition 2 or 3 times for producers, first you audition for a casting associate. That if you're auditioning for a casting associate, they think you're a piece of dog shit, and they are truly doing somebody a favor. If you're auditioning for the casting director, you are very, very, very low. And I just auditioned for a casting director, a couple of years ago on Mr. Brooks, the Kevin Costner movie that Dane got to play the part of the guy that he takes with him on his murderous sprees. It was just me and Mally Finn in her like house in Santa Monica. And I was like, wow, how the mighty have fallen. I'm in this lady's living room as she's juggling child, In
fairness, for you, those of you listening, Mally Finn is a very prestigious casting director, and she's earned the right to do things now in her house, and so actually it was a very good thing that you were in her house doing it. So
here's what was not a good thing. When I was done with this audition, which I crushed, by the way, I crushed this audition. I totally hit it out of the park, and I've never lied to you. I'll leave an audition and go, not so good.
No, like, for instance, the Clint Eastwood audition that you did.
It wasn't good. I didn't do a great job.
You called me right after. You said it was horrible.
I didn't say it was horrible. I said I could have done better. I wasn't sure what they wanted, so it was just up to me.
And then they call an hour later saying you got the gig.
Hey, kid, pack a bag. We're going to fuck San Francisco in its eye. People want the Clint Eastwood stories, too. Yeah. He was the best. Hey, Jay, would you like to join me for a Czechoslovakian beer? No. Well, then I guess you're done for the day, aren't you? But he said it like, you're a fucking pussy, get away from me. That's for later. So, Mally Finn and me do the scene a few times for Mr. Brooks, the Kevin Costner movie. And when it's done, she says, like, there's a pause when you're done, where if it's really bad, there's no pause. They go, that was really great. Thanks for coming in. You go, okay, good. And you just get in your car and you just drive off to the nearest bar and kill yourself. Mally Finn, there was a pause, and she says, I'll never forget this, and I'll never lie to you. Put your name on it. That's all I said. I was in the locker room, and the mood was this. Well, you weren't in the locker room. Well, I was in the locker room. And Mally Finn said to me, that was really good. And I said, thanks. She goes, no, Jay, like, that was really good. Why aren't you on my reel of actors for drama? And I said, I don't know, because I don't even know what the fuck she's talking about. But Barry, we can't get that sidetracked because we're sidetracked on top of a sidetracked on top of a sidetrack. The casting directors have reels of guys they go to for drama, and they got comedy reels, and ideally you want to be on both. So she goes, I don't even know why I haven't brought you in on stuff before. That was really good. And I go, thanks. I would really love to do the movie. It's the best, in my opinion, it's the best part in the movie. I leave, I go home, I look up Mally Finn on IMDb. She fucking cast me in 3 movies. She cast me in 3 movies, and here I am in her living room, and she's like, she goes, where did you come from? Who is this magical man that came in out of the November rain of Santa Monica that sits before me, who will lose the part to Dane Cook?
Well, I want to talk about this because, and I know we're sidetracked and sidetracked.
I always thought it was a little shady, but that I auditioned for Mr. Brooks. This is an exclusive, a More Stories exclusive. I auditioned for Mr. Brooks, and I leave there thinking, only because she keeps telling me, no, like, you don't understand. that was really good. Like, she's saying it to me like, asshole, say something so I can hand you a piece of paper to sign. You're good. You're done. You've got the part. And I leave and I tell Katz, and little do I know, like an hour later, he's got fucking Dane Cook flying in from the Montreal Just for Laughs festival.
No, wait a second. Now. This is,
Wait a second, man. No biting. How do you spell Mally?
Mali. I want to talk about this, if you don't mind, while you're searching the worldwide.
No, just hurry up,
webster.
because people want to hear Jennifer Aniston.
They will. This is what's called.
She booked me in The Matrix. I'm going through IMDb right now. Go ahead, sorry.
So, this is what happens sometimes. It's, when you're representing actors who are going in for the same part. It's difficult. But I will tell you why I think he got the role and you didn't get the role, if you want to hear that.
Because he was hot. He was selling out arenas.
That's not the reason why.
Bullshit.
I'm going to tell you why.
If you're putting a movie
I'm going to tell
together,
you my opinion.
All right, but your opinion, you admit your medical opinion means nothing. Are you a doctor? I'm shot in the car. I'm going to fucking die. Excuse me, are you a doctor? No, I'm not a doctor. You admit your medical opinion means nothing. I read for her in the Green Mile. I didn't get it, but I was in her living room for the Green Mile. I read for her for Your Friends and Neighbors. I read for her to be the photographer guy in LA Confidential. There was a few things. All right. But, why hold a grudge? Mally, if you're out there, I'm still available. Here's the reason Dane Cook got the part. You're going to say...
No, you don't know what I'm going to say.
I do know what you're going to say because
you've
told me before.
Well, let me
explain. And this is it, a manager-client argument on Mohr Stories. Look, if I'm a manager... And I've had this discussion with other people behind your back because I thought it was fucking shady. Not Tom Shadyac, but I thought it was shady. And I'm like, what the fuck? Dane Cook gets it. I had it. And then he fucking sends Dane in there and Dane gets it. Of course Dane's going to get it because he's selling out arenas and he's like at the time, he's the hottest guy. In all fairness, Dane Cook, remember when Dice Clay was selling out Madison Square Garden and people go, this will never happen again. It did happen, and Dane fucking took it up a notch. Dice just sold out Madison Square Garden. Dane sold out every garden. And Olive Garden he fucking sold out. The Olive Garden. Who wants more breadsticks, you fucking piece of garbage? Look at the tits on Grandma, the birthday girl. Suck it, whoa. Is that count as being sidetracked, or is that a mental disease that I have? I got to give props to Anthony from Opie and Anthony. I sold out the garden, the Olive Garden. Look at the tits on this little girl, huh, honey? When's your 14th birthday, huh? A beautiful thing sitting on daddy's lap like a little girl. He's got a fucking heart on, this guy. I don't know why he turned into Quagmire. If I'm putting a movie together, if I'm putting together a movie and I already have Kevin Costner, William Hurt, and Demi Moore, who, by the way, Demi Moore and Bruce Willis are now sharing a voice. I don't know if you've noticed that. Welcome to the party, pal. Hey, Ashton, come on into the bedroom. Hey, man. All right, you ask, which one am I doing? Am I doing Ashton Kutcher? Am I doing Demi Moore or Bruce Willis?
I can't even breathe anymore.
Hey, Kevin. I want to know if you could talk to me about something. Katz did a black audience member, but he got out of his chair.
You gotta shake me.
You got it. No, you got to earn it. You just did a black audience member. We covered that in Mohr Stories 2 with Tom Segura. You just hit level 4 of black audience appreciation. You got up and left your fucking chair and went up the aisle. Level 5 is when you come back to a different seat.
Welcome to Sidetrack with Jay Mohr.
That's not a bad title. It's not a bad title. So, if I'm putting a movie together and I already have Demi Moore, Bruce Willis's wife, and I got William Hurt, who's like, this is it now. This is the biggest cast in the world. I got Kevin Costner. And now I just need someone to fill this. I got to plug this part right here. All I got to do is fill in this piece of the puzzle and we're good to go. I got Jay Mohr, who's fantastic. Whoa, what's this? At the last second, Barry Katz put Dane Cook in front of us. Who is this guy, Dane Cook? Has he acted before? No, not really. However, if you look at the box office, he's selling 15,000 tickets every other freaking night in the United States. Can he act? Bring him in. He did a good job. What about Jay Moore? Fuck Jay Moore. He's playing Uncle Sputchy's Chuckle Hut in the Inland Empire. Get me Dane Cook to fill in that part. That way everybody's happy that finances the film.
All right. Now there's three sides to every story. Okay. So when you represent artists, and agents as well, you send people in, they do what they do.
If I was,